as a child, born in Grand Rapids, then up to halfway through 5th grade in the Detroit area, then half of 5th grade in one school, and then they built another one, so then I went to 6th grade in a different school, and then we left Columbus to go to Chicago from 7th grade on.
Wow.
And I told my dad, I am not leaving during high school. I was an English major education, secondary education major, with a minor in music, because I love singing and music. And I'd sung in an ensemble at the high school level in the choir there, and so then I got into the Capella choir at Calvin, and then I took a music education class because I was in education. If I'm going to minor in music, it had to be in music education, and Jim sat behind me. Jim was a lot better at it than I because he was a music major and I just liked music. But anyway, and then we both ended up signing up for a class during interim, which is the month of January, and you do one class. And it was an anniversary year for Calvin, so that year they had an English prof write a play and a music prof write music.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been on Broadway. I can't imagine what it was like. But anyway, it's called The Impossible Possibility. And then we had these little dance steps. Oh my word. But so he ended up signing up for that too.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up being in the same group of 4 people that rehearsed together every day at this little table, and had to act like we were eating a hamburger or whatever. But then after that month, I kind of missed him. I actually lived in a remodeled barn that had been turned into 4 apartments overlooking the cornfield. And Randolph, Wisconsin at that time had like 5 bars and a grocery store, basically. And I was like, wow, 500 to 24 people or something, population. And so on Labor Day, Jim helped me move into the barn with my roommate, Phyllis Cooling from Iowa. We taught 1st and 2nd grade. And it's like, okay. And anyway, and it was interesting because later on during the year, I had one kid raise his hand, and I'm like, yeah, you cried when your boyfriend left. I'm like, yeah, I did. How did you know that?
How did you?
Well, my cousin worked on the line, and he saw you going back into the barn after your boyfriend left. Wow. Oh, my word. That was before Twitter. But that, it's just like, man, you think you're out in the middle of nowhere and nobody's paying attention, but they do. I really think the unity of the council is a much bigger principle than any individual's journey.
Okay.
And if I didn't care that much about the city, I wouldn't want to serve as its mayor. The Civic Center. And everybody says, well, that's already in place. No, it's not. We've done it before and it didn't get all the way through. So that is big. And so let's come up with some great ideas. Let's involve people. Let's figure out a way to have maybe virtual feedback as well as people there and writing down answers and breaking into small groups. I can't wait to see the ideas that come out of that. I really want it to be a signature property for the city and really world class and intrinsically Holland, Michigan. I don't want it to look like something that came from New York and we stuck it in the middle of Holland, Michigan, because we have a lot to be proud of and we need to have something that fits us. And I also want to, Windmill Island Gardens, we've worked hard at. I was a part of the strategic planning and the business plan and part of the hiring of Matt Helmus. He is like a person born for that position. He just loves it. He just exudes excitement for the Netherlands and making that place great. And I love that. And I want that authenticity on the island. But it shouldn't only be Netherlands, but whatever we do of the Netherlands needs to be with class. And maybe getting a restaurant out there and having events out there and also celebrating the environment out there. We have to develop the framework for how you make decisions about, the interpretive plan, they call it, for what type of events do we have and how do we develop things so that we are true to those types of things. And I also want the island to be future focused, that what from our qualities of the past are going to lead to a great future here as well. And maybe that is the dimension where we include other cultures and talk about how Holland isn't only Dutch, but that's how it started. Oh yeah, and we need Vinralty Farm. We had the Civil War muster there a bunch of years now, and I think they've settled now in September for their. You'll never forever have a perfect weather, and but that the 100 and whatever degrees followed by the monsoon rains of June now. But anyway, so that thing has been growing and really becoming well attended, and we just put a new porch on, which it totally needed. But there's other things it totally needs, and those 2 barns, that are authentic, but they're getting creaky, and if we keep ignoring them, we're not going to have them at all. We can do better than that. We should redo those barns in a way that can have school children come there. We should have a handicapped accessible bathroom. We should be able to rent it out for weddings, and I mean, how cool to get married on the porch of Vinralty's house. The son of the founder of our community lived there. The museum has been doing a great job of picking topics that apply to people and bringing those topics to the people, going to the schools and having things that really excite people to come in and learn about. And I think it's made them rethink what is a museum, how long it takes for people to rethink what is a museum, and then get to the level of that is really valuable, I want to preserve it, and then get to the level of I'm willing to pay for it, is the question. That's the BPW's responsibility, and they have done amazing work with it. I'm a part of the design committee that's talking about the education wing, and I've tried to include a bunch of other people that are involved in things that could benefit from the training of the design mind process, because we're hiring this group from New Jersey to help us make a creative interactive exhibit. I think we can kind of sit on our stories around here, and a lot of people know each other for their whole lives, so everybody knows, and that's always the way we've in those kind of phrases. And telling stories, I think, is a part that is so important for future generations, because we are so siloed in our electronic world now that we can just pick what kind of news we want to get on our phone, and we can just pick where we want to Facebook and what programs we want to watch, and everything is around myself. And face-to-face conversations and listening and sitting on a porch are things that are kind of easily sliding out of our culture, and that's a terrible tragedy. So I would love to do more storytelling. I would prefer not to bring it up again. We are in compliance with the Elliott Larson housing policy for the state. I would think it may be readdressed at the state level. If it is, we'll follow the law of the state. But I don't think we should spend time continually going over this. It was 4 years ago. I had a friend who's gay had a sign for me in his yard. Another friend of ours gave my husband a big hug and congratulated him after the election. I mean, we know people as individuals, not as labels. And so I think I voted that way because of my faith and my principles. I also have faith in principles that tell me that every person is created by God. Every person is intrinsically valuable. Every person has gifts and abilities that need to be found and empowered in a community, and that we are the best community when we all come together around whatever it is we're trying to build or do or create as a group. I don't think you can legislate morality. I don't think you can legislate kindness. I think you have to encourage good values and help people care about each other. I love the Home and Garden channel and watching a rotten looking house go to a beautiful. And I guess I love doing that citywide. And I love taking problems that look rotten and figuring out how, in solving this problem, can we get to a way better place that we never would have gone to had we not had the problem, rather than just focusing on the death of a vision with the problem and using it instead to catapult you to a higher level. I love that.